There's a brand new puppy in the house, so if you hear noises, whining, and or little tiny barks, that is what that is. So, and I'm gonna leave them in because, well, she's cute. And she can't help it. She's only 8 weeks old. So, anyway, hello everyone. I'm Natalie. I am a first-year nursing student. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. If not, welcome. Consider subscribing. Also, leave some comments down below. Let's have a conversation because today we are going to talk about burnout and finding motivation when you've hit a wall. So I do have my notes here behind my camera, and I will be looking at them occasionally because I did write out a script, and unfortunately my memorization in such a short period of time is not that great. So it definitely goes into what we talk about today. If you hear squeaking in the background, just know that she is entertaining herself and the other two are taking a nap over in the corner. So, squeak, squeak for Whiskey Willow. So, let's get started. So, I think in everybody's school career, or any career for that matter, they find themselves getting overly exhausted and burned out. And this can sometimes turn into the downfall of an entire semester, which is why I want to talk about it today. I am talking about this from personal experience, and what I am going to talk about is only from my personal experience. So what I say may or may not pertain to you. When it comes to burnout, it could be because of a whole plethora of different items, but sometimes it is the countless hours of studying that you're putting in without scheduling in me time, or even feeling overwhelmed by really hard assignments. Or it could just be the multitudes of information that you're getting that you're having to retain and memorize in a very short period of time. Whatever the case may be, when burnout hits you, there's no question as to what it is. At the beginning of the term that I'm currently in, I went all in on this semester in my studies, as one does when you want to succeed at a high level in a class. I scheduled myself for hours and hours and hours of studying, and I thought I had scheduled enough me time. And I was excited to see that I did in fact have a little bit more me time than I had in the previous semester. I did not, however, realize that I was not scheduling enough time for me to relax, for me to take part in self-care, or to spend time with my family. I was giving myself an hour here and an hour there, but I was spending the absolute rest of my waking hours in front of the computer, in front of my books, doing everything, when in reality, the amount of time that I should have had to take care of me should have been much greater. I thought for sure that I was going strong, and I did for a while. I was going very, very strong for a while until I hit a wall not too long ago. And at this point, I was terrified of what would happen if my grades were to fall, and it made the stress even worse, which made the burnout and the exhaustion even worse. And within the conversations that I had with other students within my cohort, my peers, I noticed that I was not the only one that felt this way. And it was going around almost as if it was contagious. It started making me think of all the reasons why burnout happens, and it also made me start thinking about all of the ways that you can combat burnout. First of all, the dangers of burnout, if you allow it to continue throughout the semester, are a decrease in study time below your minimum. When you're burned out, you tend to stop doing what caused you to get to that point in the beginning. And if that means hours in front of the computer, that might mean you're spending 0 time in front of the computer. zero time looking over your notes, zero time trying to retain the information that you're being taught in class. In fact, one thing I noticed is that I normally looked at my notes the very next day, and I didn't even want to do that. My biggest problem was not studying and spending a lot of time watching YouTube or watching movies or just not doing anything at all. And I noticed that when I did study, I would read over my notes, and that's it. I wouldn't do any type of active recall. I wouldn't try and do note cards. I wouldn't do any of that. Which brings me to my second one, which is the decrease in the quality of your studying. When you find the time to study, you really put in the bare minimum, which is not enough to retain the information. Like I said, I was not doing active recall. I was only reading through my notes, and that is not enough. This led to poor test scores. I recently had a surgery, and I blamed my poor grades on my following tests on the surgery, even though I was laid up in bed and I could have been going over my notes. I could have been doing active recall. I could have been studying a lot harder because I really had nowhere else to be, because I was resting. So my test scores did actually suffer because of this, which caused me to become even more depressed, even more exhausted, and the loop kind of continued. I was not retaining the information. I was doing as quick a memorization as I could just to get it through and then purging that information. And this doesn't just affect your test scores, it affects your whole future. As a nursing student, I need to know the information for my future career. I need to know it for future classes. I need to have an understanding. When you start your nursing classes, it relies heavily on the information that you learned prior to that. That's why there are prerequisites for the course. So, like right now, I'm in an anatomy class that takes a lot of brain power to keep up with, and all of that information is going to come back up. And so it really just affects your future when you get into this funk. And then finally, complete lack of self-care, which is what got me into this situation to begin with. And it leads to further burnout, and it leads to future exhaustion. And it's just a vicious circle that can go round and round if you're not taking the time to take care of yourself. So it is normal to feel burnout. But to let burnout overtake you is not okay. So let's talk about some ways to combat these issues. I had to get into an entirely new mindset. Why did I start nursing school to begin with? What were my goals when it comes to nursing school? What were my goals within nursing school? I had to think about my purpose for all of those things. So when you're having this crisis, which is really what it is to some of us, is a full-on crisis, because you're tired. No, you're not just tired, you're exhausted, and you are completely at the wit's end of what you're gonna do, because you've spent hours in front of the computer, you've put in so much work, you might not be seeing the same results that you want to see or what you think that you should be seeing, and you kind of get yourself worked up. So at these times, stop and think, why do I want to do this? Why is this something I want? How am I going to achieve that? And then start thinking about what it is that's causing your burnout. Is it the volume of work and the volume of information? Is it the lack of self-care for yourself? Is it poor scheduling? Should you be re-looking at your planners and your schedule and rehashing the whole thing starting from scratch? What can you do to make this more doable for yourself? Because there are 24 hours in a day, and you need to sleep for 8 of those. and you're going to be in class for some of those. But you have the time. If you look at how much you should be studying per credit outside of class, look at that, and then look at how much time you have to take care of yourself. Make it more doable. Rework your schedule. You can rework your schedule. And get everybody else involved too. Get your family involved. This is my schedule. This is what I'm going to do. I know that at this time, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. And I know at this time, I'm completely available to watch movies, go get a pedicure, whatever. Look at your study methods. Are they inadequate? Is it something where you're chasing your tail, trying to get the information and retain the information? Do you need to try something new? This might be a good one for you too, because if you are working really hard at a system that does not work, of course you're going to reach burnout. So look at your system and figure out, should you be studying different? Are you just reading over your notes and hoping that it all clicks? Are you using flashcards? Are you using Anki cards? Are you doing spaced repetition? Try something new and see if something else will work better for you, that you won't have to work quite as hard to get better results. Take some time for yourself. And that goes back into scheduling. You can schedule time for yourself, but go do something. Go to dinner. Take yourself to dinner. Take your friend to dinner. Go hang out with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Get a pedicure. Meditate. Do yoga. Run around the block. Take a walk in the park. Play with dogs. Go to a cat cafe. Whatever you need to do that makes you happy and can take your mind off of school for a little bit is good. That is all part of self-care. Go get a facial. Give yourself a facial. Have a home care day or a spa day or a home spa day. Whatever you need to do to take care of you, and schedule that in. And don't just schedule it in once. Be like, I got a pedicure. Now everything should be better now. No, take time every week to do something for you. Take time every day to do something for you. Whether it's paint your nails, meditate for 10 minutes, sleep in, lay on the couch and read a book, whatever. Schedule time in for you to do that for you. Make a morning routine, make an evening routine, but take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to end up exactly where you are now. And finally, use your planner. Use your planner. I've already mentioned scheduling up in the above points, but use your planner. If you plan out your studies, you'll be able to see how much time you have to take care of yourself. If you study from the hours of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then you have lunch and you do whatever, you have this much time at the end of the day to take care of you and to have a little bit of rest and relaxation. But if you're not using your planner, you're going to do things whenever you think about them, rather, and you're going to end up overlapping all of these times, and you're not going to have the same amount of time, or you're not going to have the right timing, if that makes sense, for personal care items. It is very, very important to listen to when your brain is saying SOS. If your brain is telling you you need to slow down, you need to change something, then you need to listen to that. Know when it's time to take a break, and don't forget to take care of yourself. And remember that you're not alone and you can get past this. So that is all I have on burnout and finding motivation again. Just know that you are not in this alone. We all have this. And it is so important to take care of you. It is so important for your own brain power to relax and have time for yourself. And I know they say in nursing school that you don't have time for a social life. And that might be true. You might not be able to do all of the things you used to be able to do. but there is time for you to take care of yourself. No one ever said you had to neglect yourself for the entire program. So I hope that what I've talked about today is helpful. If you have anything to add that I might have missed or something that you might think differently on, feel free to put it down in the comments below. I would love to have a conversation about this, and I really hope to hear from some of you. And once again, if you're here and you're new here and you have not subscribed, please consider doing that, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.